Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Coffee Break, and welcome back to the Coffee Cast. And this is the Midwest Amateur Esports League, the StarCraft edition. This is going to be a series from the first week. The second week of games are done, but I've decided what I'm going to do. I'm going to cast all of week 1 and then just kind of pick out bits and pieces from weeks 2 and on, and cast those as they kind of come along, decide what I want to cast, and hopefully I'll be getting a little bit of support from other people. A little bit of casting support from other people to help me out get all these games casted. Spawning on the right hand side of GSL Abyssal City, it is going to be our purple Zerg player. It is going to be the admin, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the head of the Heartland Esports Association. It is the purple Zerg. It is SpaceYeti, who is doing a 9 pool apparently. That's the classy way to do it. Or a 10 pool. That's a 10 pool, isn't it? Whatever. Anyways, his opponent, spawning on the left-hand side, a veteran of both of the Hespa lands in Lincoln, Nebraska. It is going to be the orange Protoss player. It is going to be Winston. So, I don't know anything about either of these players. I know Winston's an alright player. I don't think he's one of the Master Leaguers, to be honest, but I can't remember exactly. Don't quote me on that. I'm going to check his profile afterward, and he is going to be Master League, and I'm going to feel just awful about that. SpaceYeti probably going to be opening up with a little bit of aggression, though, as he did go for a fairly early pool timing. So I'm interested to see what exactly he goes for with that. Yep, there's the 6 Zerglings spawning out immediately upon the completion of that spawning pool, rallied all the way across the map. Where is it? Right there, right into that natural expansion of Winston. Who is he lining up to do a Nexus? Oh my goodness, he is lining up to do a 17 Nexus. I don't know what he's thinking right now. He does have the probe over here to scout. The probe just trying to keep an eye out for to see if there's anything interesting going on in that natural expansion. He didn't even look and see those Zerglings coming out across the map, so he's going to have virtually no idea that these Zerglings are coming unless he managed to spot that mini-map. He's going to be laying down that forge on the wall, but no additional buildings going down. He doesn't even really have the resources to lay down additional buildings. Needs to get the gateway there, but unfortunately he's just not going to have either the power field or the resources to be able to stop these Zerglings from getting into his natural expansion here. There goes the Zerglings onto that pylon there. Nothing really is going to be ready to defend. This probe is going to be kind of sitting in the worst spot in the world there. That first pylon is going to go down. Buildings do continue to warp in. They will finish up and be unpowered. That Nexus is completed. The gateway was completed, actually, and that means that we have almost 700 minerals saved up, and Winston is now suddenly in the worst position in the world there. This pylon actually really needs to be taken down, because if that pylon finishes, that's going to allow Winston to start creating cannons over in his base. I guess if the Zerglings can just kill off the cannons, that pylon really should have actually been back here in the power field. And the Zerglings seem to be not really sure where they want to go here. SpaceYeti trying to find where exactly he wants the best target to be. Oh no! The surround on the Zerglings. At least 2 of those Zerglings are going to get caught in that surround. Oh, one of them might get away. Yeah, one of those Zerglings actually does manage to get away. Winston has taken quite a bit of damage so far. 3 workers killed very, very early on in the game, having to cancel his gateway, having to cancel his Nexus first. He is not really in the best position in the world right now. And in the meantime, just going to be following it up with an expansion of his own. Might even take a fast third base if he so desires. He's now down on the low ground here. SpaceYeti is going to be taking out that forge. And now we have a gateway going up in the back of the base for Winston. Now we have an assimilator going up. This photon cannon actually not even finished yet. And I almost can't even see him recovering from this game at this point in time. I mean, I would be very surprised if Winston managed to come back and pull a win out in game number 1. But don't worry, this is a best-of-3 series, so should something go wrong for Winston, he can always come back in game number 2 and try to pull it into an ace match. These Zerglings are not going to be able to wail away at the pylon because the cannon is protecting that, but guess what's not protected? That assimilator. Unfortunately for SpaceYeti, I think that Winston's going to have enough time to mine 50 gas out of that. So if nothing else, Winston will at least be able to begin his warp gate technology, and there's that crucial 50 gas. So that once the cybernetics core goes down, he will be able to start that warp gate technology right away and not have to worry too much. Oh my goodness, canceling that second gateway. I think that was supposed to be a cybernetics core. Oh no, and now the cybernetics core actually blocking the second Vespian geyser. Winston just has nothing going for him this game. I feel bad for the fella, actually. I really wish we could see the cannon's range here, but I do believe it protects the outskirts of this cybernetics core. Now a couple of additional gateways going down here. This gateway here really should not have been canceled. As we can see, there are plenty of resources saved up right now. Back over in MAeSL's base, he's just kind of happily sitting back, droning up a bit. It's 30 to 19 harvesters right now. He has, you know, 2 hatcheries up. He has the queens out on the field, even getting that 3rd queen now to start spreading the creep out. Roach Warren is on the way. I wouldn't be surprised to see some sort of big roach follow-up just to try to kill off its opponent. At this point, though, I'd almost rather see, we do have the lair coming on the way, I'd almost rather see us go up to infestors, which I think we are going to be, as we do have the 2 additional gas geysers down in this natural expansion as well. So I would love to see us go up to the infestors at this point in time, because that will really kill any sort of gateway counter aggression that might be coming out onto the field by Winston. Winston is going to be trying to establish this natural expansion. That's really the only thing he can do at this point in time. I would have loved to see some sort of one base all in, except he kept, you know, he delayed the gateway, he delayed the cybernetics core, he lost his gas, and at that point, you know, everything is so far behind, you almost may as well just try something like a double expand, which I think would be his best option at this point. It's just trying to do a double expand, hoping that SpaceYeti doesn't do any really quick aggression in, you know, the next 5 or 6 minutes. SpaceYeti is going to be taking a 3rd base. 10 roaches now spawning out onto the field, using up a lot of his gas that I would have once again loved to see go to his tier 2 tech. But it looks like he's just going to be going for a lot of roaches and probably pushing out across the map here. These roaches, they are rallied down to the front of the natural expansion. Plenty of creeping going on. A lot of creeper tumors just kind of in the local area here, not really spreading the creep out and about too much. We do have 2 queens devoted solely to creep spreading, and 2 queens for the hatcheries as well. This 3rd base is going to be finishing up very shortly. SpaceYeti over double the supply of his opponent, 71 to 31. The Nexus just now finishing for Winston. Just not a good position for him whatsoever. Not a good position whatsoever. I'm going to be honest, I don't even know if I'm live right now. I'm kind of worried that I'm not. I'm actually going to check that real fast. Apparently I'm not. Okay. Okay, I thought I was, but apparently I am not. So we're just going to keep on going on this local recording, apparently. So, Winston, yeah, Winston not in the greatest of positions here, but there is still a chance for him to come back. Especially considering the fact that Hydralisks are coming onto the field. I think the Hydralisks are a very interesting decision, but I do understand where MAeSL is going with that decision. Getting that Groot Spine upgrade. To counter Hydralisks, you have to have Colossus, or you have to have High Templar with Storm. Seeing as there's really virtually no way for Winston to have either of those right now, and SpaceYeti really could actually shoot this Overlord through the base and find out about that, these Hydras could actually be somewhat effective. At this point in the game, you'll never see a Protest player who's played a normal game not have one of those 2 tech paths. But since Winston does not, I could actually see SpaceYeti doing quite a bit of damage here. Just needs to start doing something soon here. I'm a little bit worried about the fact that he's taking so long to get going onto this field. We're currently sitting at 49 to 33 harvesters. I feel like SpaceYeti could take a little bit better advantage of the fact that he took such a big early game lead. But just going to be kind of sitting back and macroing up, dropping Spine Crawlers. I think he's worried a little bit about Warp Prism drops. Could probably use a Spore Crawler or two as well. He does have the Overseer sitting above these, so I guess that does take place of that Spore Crawler potential there. The Overlord on the high ground, not really going to be spotting too much here, just the fact that there's no 3rd gas, or 3rd or potentially 4th gas, I should say, taken for Winston, who's now going to be establishing a 3rd base. So, SpaceYeti letting Winston get back a little bit into this game. I keep coming over to this Harvester tab here, 39 to 62, but we can see SpaceYeti has just spent so much more in this game than Winston. I mean, that's just ridiculous. That's what, 1600 here, another 2,000 give or take here. I mean, there are so many more resources mined by SpaceYeti, who is actually also doing a fairly good job keeping up with that resource tab there. So really all SpaceYeti needs to do now is just kind of move out across the map. He even has his 1-1 finished to the 0-0 currently of Winston, who is about to get his +1 weapons on the field. One Immortal is being chrono boosted out onto the field, but against the Hydralisks, that's just not really going to fare all that well. Quite a few Hydralisks on the field right now, actually. I believe 7 or 8 at this point, which really, I guess that's not a ton, but once again, considering the fact that there's no AoE on the field and no AoE to come on the field anytime soon, I mean, there's not even a robotics bay on the field yet, not even one in production at that, and we're 13 minutes into this game. I still feel like this Hydralisk do have a window of opportunity. There goes the robotics bay now. So if SpaceYeti wants to make this work, he almost has to move out right now, because as soon as those Colossus come on the field, this army is pretty much going to be null and void without the Infestors and without the Corruptors. You know, you really need one or the other. This Overseer is in position, could potentially run around and try to spot out what's going on here, but currently just is sitting overhead. Going to the +2 weapons is maybe a little bit interesting of a decision. A lot of the time you'll see Protoss players go for the +2 and then +3 weapons before they even start doing armor upgrades. But in this case, there is no Twilight Council on the field, despite the fact that there are plenty of resources banked up for Winston. So he's going to be pretty much forced to go ahead and get that armor upgrade instead. I'd like to point out the fact once again that the Cybernetics Core is blocking this assimilator here, so this mining very, very inefficient. And well, I guess not very inefficient. Might need a 4th probe on that. I'm not sure, but that actually is looking like it's trading out fairly decently. There's just a split second that isn't being mined on that. 4th base now being taken by SpaceYeti. We're now at 68 to 62 harvesters. SpaceYeti, at a fairly decent number at this point in time, does have a slight income advantage over his opponent. Just, well, I guess actually, you know what, he's spending extremely well as well. Just 12 Hydralisks coming onto the field. The Robotics Bay is finished up. No Colossus on the field quite yet. Once again, now SpaceYeti is the time to move out. He's almost maxed out to only 100, give or take, supply. So he's up by about 100 supply right now over his opponent. 1 Colossus coming onto the field now. Once again, SpaceYeti, you currently have 65 seconds to move out across the map and start doing damage. Otherwise, this is not going to end well. 11 more Hydralisks spawning out on the field. And that's actually going to make it so the Hydralisks outnumber the Roaches. These Hydralisks obviously so slow off of creep. Needs to be careful of the engagement angle that he does decide to come at, because by the time he gets there, 1 Colossus is going to be out on the map. That's not a ton. That's not a ton, but you do not want to be clumped up in a bad position. I think coming around this south side and then up into this area instead of going through the destructible debris would be the better path. The 2nd Colossus now in production. Holy crap. Surprise, Winston. There is an entire army knocking down at your front door right now. This is a 200 army for SpaceYeti coming around now, going to be taking out the rocks. 1 Colossus now has finished up. These Hydralisks going to be able to do so much damage. We have the 20 damage of the Roaches and of course the 14 damage of those Hydralisks. Just going to pretty much be almost moving in here. He's going to be doing a little bit of click moving, trying to get up a little bit further there. Now we're seeing these Hydralisks, they're dying so fast. I mean, just look how much supply SpaceYeti has actually lost in this engagement, but it doesn't matter because he is up over double the supply of his opponent. Going to be able to kill off that robotics facility. Robotics facility number 2 going down, 162, 280 supply. Everything is absolutely getting slaughtered. And that's probably just going to be, I mean, there's almost no way to make it exciting at that point. There's a GG for Winston, the GG's from SpaceYeti, and that is going to conclude game number 1 in this best of 3 series between Winston and SpaceYeti. So we are going to go on to game number 2 as soon as I figure out if I'm actually live or not. I don't know.